The general rule in timpani stickings is to just always alternate everything whenever you possibly can. However, because most passages have anywhere from 2 to 4 or more drums, the large body gestures that it takes to get from surface to surface can make consistent tone with that kind of gesture extremely challenging. We are, of course, in timpani playing free to choose the stickings that give us our best tone, because tone is the most important thing. When you consider a sticking for a passage, there's a few things that you want to think about, and I'm ordering these from most likely to happen down to least likely to happen. First, you want to keep the hands open, not crossed over each other. And the way you're going to do that is you're just going to mark what hand to start on as you move into a drum change. For example, if I have an even number of notes, let's say I've got 4 notes before I go this way, I'm going to start on the hand that is going in that direction. So in this case, I'm moving to my right, so I'm going to play on my right. If I was going the opposite direction, then I would start on the left because I'm moving to the left. That's going to carry for all evenly numbered notes. So if it's 8, for odd numbered notes, then I'm going to start with whatever the opposite hand is. So if I have 3 notes going to the right, I'm going to start on my left. That's what keeps me from crossing my hands over. If I tried that starting on the right, it would end up going like this. I could make it sound good if I needed to, but that feeling of coming over the top usually results in some kind of downstroking motion or just something that's not going to be as easy to make sound good. This one is especially important in classic period music because it's basically the only thing you do the entire time. It's just following a trumpet part going back and forth with rhythms some number of notes before a drum change. Number 2, you want to avoid sweeping over multiple drums like this. You want to try to keep things on adjacent drums if at all possible. We proved that you can play the same tone with different stickings, but it may involve changing the stroke height. Adding that element to a big side-to-side motion is pretty difficult. So for example, if I'm playing a passage on drums 3 and 4 and drum 1 down here, I have a couple of different options for how I can stick it. I might do something like this, because it allows me to produce with just a double sticking on different surfaces. Of course, I could attempt to do it all alternating, but that kind of sweeping across drums really sets me up for a difficult situation where I have to separate the feeling of moving side to side with the feeling of moving vertically in a pretty extreme way. If, however, this was not on drum 1, but on drum 2, it wouldn't be nearly as critical. I could play it this way, like that, but I could also do it like this. Because I'm not traveling over as much distance, it's not as physically demanding to match my tone while I go side to side. The third thing to think about is when you do have to cross or rapidly shift your whole core like this, it's okay to do that, but tone is your number 1 concern. Some passages just simply have no elegant sticking solutions. So for example, I'll just stick it out on each drum. If I had something like this, but it was fast, so I couldn't just do that with one hand each, I would end up having to cross or twist my hands around somehow. So for example, some combination of crossing over the top or quickly shifting my hands from position to position is going to be necessary, and I just have to figure out which combination of that is going to make the most sense for me physically so that I can produce my best tone. The last thing to consider is that when you're playing double stickings of any kind, the hardest way to do it is when it's on a single surface, because that's where you can hear those nuances and differences in tone most obviously. The changing pitches of the drums can mask any issues with doubles. So for example, because the pitches are changing, you don't quite notice as much that this initial stroke is a little bit heavier than it is over here. If you're going to use double stickings, you need to test them on a single surface and make sure that they sound pretty good first. If you can't get your doubles to match in a situation, that's not going to be a good option for the passage. So here's a passage moving sideways, and then the same sticking on a single surface.